Hello, good evening. Ryan Willard here. What do? I'm an architect, and I'm also the host of the Business of Architecture UK. And the Business of Architecture UK is a podcast, a digital platform that serves architects and helps facilitate business expertise and entrepreneurial thinking and getting that into architects to help them grow and deliver their practices. And of course, I run my own practice, and I selfishly absorb all the wonderful things that people tell me about how they're running their practices, and I try my best to implement them or use it in my own growth. And one of the things that I've been doing the podcast for a few years now. I started probably 2015. And I was putting content onto the Business of Architecture in the US's platform, and then a year and a bit ago started the Business of Architecture purely for the UK and the nuances of the UK market. And I've gotten into having lots of conversations with people. And what I love about the podcasting format is that it literally is a conversation, and you can kind of go in, you can do your preparation, you can find out about people, but also being able to be intuitive enough and quick enough to be able to respond and flow and dance inside of a conversation and listen and ask interesting questions makes for interesting content. And as a result, and I'm always kind of searching, I'm always kind of thinking about what makes good content, and I'm learning, I'm always learning. I don't claim to be masterful at this by any means, but it's become a passion of mine to try and find out what makes great stories, what makes great conversations, what does make compelling listening. And for me, anyway, the more natural and flowing and intuitive and improvised a conversation can be, and a lot of that improvisation comes off a foundation of structure and preparation, kind of like jazz. Anyway, what was I talking about? See, too much improvisation, you lose your train of thought. Yes, I was talking about what makes interesting conversations is when people get into that free flow state, that kind of improvised, creative state. And I find a lot now when I'm talking with people, you're like, oh, that would make a great podcast. And it's kind of like, well, what? Well, the natural conversation. It's so fascinating how much knowledge is existing around us, and how interesting the conversations that you might be having with your peers, with your contemporaries, how entertaining, how valuable, how fascinating they can be for an audience or for a public. And this is one of the reasons why social media and reality TV has become so entrenched in today's society, is because it's a glimpse, a window into the natural, real conversations that people are having every single day. And even the most monotonous, innocuous, I don't know if that's the right word, but the most sort of mundane conversations can have a lot of entertainment value to them. In fact, some of the most non-conversations can be the funniest. They can be the most witty, or the ones that just sort of show an element of realism or kind of human vulnerability or comedy. I mean, humor is just the little funny things, when the genuine funny things, the genuine funny reactions that people do, being startled or genuinely reacting to something that's said, are so innately captivating to us that I find it so fascinating. And so being able to facilitate and kind of get into the art of how to capture these moments that kind of envelope and surround our natural lives is a real interest of mine. And I think it's very much the key to a lot of social media activity. And if you watch people who are really, really great on social media, they've gotten very good at being able to document the sort of everydayness of their lives. And through that, you're building this kind of relationship. And likewise in podcasts. And if you're thinking about doing a podcast, You want to get out there and start talking to people and have as many conversations about anything with people and just start learning the art of getting curious and interested in people and getting them to talk, getting them to say what's interesting about them, about their lives, what makes them real, where are their emotions at. I don't know if you remember the website. I don't know what's happened to it now, but one of my favorite websites used to be Humans of New York. And it was set up by a guy who used to walk around New York with a camera. He's done a brilliant TED Talk on this as well. He used to take a couple of snaps of people just on the street, and he would ask them some really simple questions, and they would tell them a sort of bit of their life story. And it was so compelling. It was so compelling. You'd have these one paragraphs that he would, I don't know how he edited it or what it was or how disarming he was in the conversation, but he just captured these beautiful human moments of a story or a share of somebody, or somebody was dealing with the loss of a parent, or somebody had just broken up, or somebody was just about to go to a job interview. They're really just like everyday experiences captured in this blog on this Facebook page, or I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Facebook page. And it was really, really compelling. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. What is interesting? What makes interesting conversation? What makes interesting content is all these bits of human reality. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Talk to you later.